This year has been a very fantastic year. Time for me to review like the Fantastic Four movie, Fantastic Four First Steps. My name is M3 Bullet. Welcome back. Alright, it's time for me to review the Fantastic Four movie. It's been like going on for weeks. I have to rewatch this movie like at least 5 times to like really like get into the whole thing. So, like, share, subscribe, follow me on Instagram, check me out, doing art. Links to everything down below. And guys, if you want to get my content before like it ever hits YouTube, head over to my Patreon page down below. What's a Patreon? Patreon is a website where you can basically like support like your favorite content creators, like get behind the scenes stuff, early access, and stuff like that. Alright, so this movie pretty much starts out like with the introduction of Earth 828, and it's like everything is like a futuristic version of the 1960s. Reed and Sue were in the Baxter building, just going home from like somewhere. They're pretty much freshening up for dinner or something. Reed was looking for the iodine, and pretty much like Sue was in the bathroom, like what was it, like just sitting there for some reason. But really she was taking a pregnancy test the whole time. And when Sue came out of the bathroom and like hand Reed the pregnancy test, Reed was pretty much shocked because like he really thought like the whole cosmic rays that gave them their powers kind of like really messed up their DNA to the point where they thought they couldn't have kids. I mean, they made their peace with it. They ended up kissing in celebration, but then Reed kind of ruined it by like overthinking, saying like we really need to like come up with new protocols because like the baby's coming. And like we really need to like baby-proof the world and everything else. Sue like tried to calm Reed down and told him like, babe, nothing is gonna change. Everything will be just fine. Then we cut to like a little news broadcast about like the Fantastic Four, and they've been like superheroes for over like for 4 years. They're the only superheroes in this universe. There was a dude named Ted Gilbert who was the host of the Ted Gilbert Show, and pretty much he's like telling everyone about like the whole story behind the Fantastic Four, how they got their powers from like cosmic rays from a space mission that was led by Reed. Reed is Mr. Fantastic. He has the ability to like stretch his body really far. Then we got Sue. Sue's the Invisible Woman. She can turn invisible and also like create force field. Then we got Johnny, the Human Torch. Johnny is like, what was it, Sue's brother, and he can like pretty much like set himself on fire and fly and like shoot fire out of his hands. And then we got Ben. Ben, like, what was it, Reed's best pal. They knew each other for years. And he's Jewish. Ben, like, turned into like some orange rock monster with super spray. And he's kind of like invulnerable. And then we kind of got like a little montage about like how like the Fantastic Four were heroes and how they saved the day. And they were like fighting this dude named Mole Man. Mole Man was the leader of like this subterranean country called Subterranea. And because of like Sue Storm, there was like some sort of like peace agreement, some sort of peace deal. And also like Sue kind of like proposes like the Future Foundation. Basically, like, all the participating countries have been, like, well, they're disarming, like, their armed forces, all but one country, Liberia, and pretty much, like, the whole world has been, like, at world peace ever since. And then we come to, like, Ted Gilbert pretty much, like, introducing them. He kind of, like, brought the Fantastic Four on the show to, like, celebrate, like, the last 4 years that, like, the Fantastic Four have been, like, doing this hero stuff. And that's why, like, Reed and Sue were, like, changing clothes and getting ready for dinner that whole time. They were just there at a show. Ben and Johnny were at the dinner table waiting for Reed and Sue. And Reed and Sue pretty much showed up. And like Johnny told him like, hey, you're late. Reed and Sue was acting really weird for a second. And then Ben started to notice like something really off. Then Ben asked Sue, is she pregnant? Then Sue told them, yeah, she's pregnant. And Johnny and everyone else was like really happy about this. Ben really thought that Reed would be like in his lab pretty much like freaking out and going crazy and like going like all panic mode. Then we got a little montage about like everyone like speculating about the baby, like is the baby gonna be a boy or girl, or if the kid's gonna have superpowers. And we see Herbie like trying to like put some electrical plugs in to like make sure the baby don't get in. Like Reed has been trying to like babyproof the house and the entire world. A couple months have passed and pretty much has been like Halloween. Then went back to like his old neighborhood. Like he went to the synagogue and some kids were like outside and he was like, well, they lifted a car. Then we kind of got introduced to like Rachel Rosman. Ben kind of had a crush on her, and he kind of embarrassed himself a little bit. Alright, time to speed this up. Later on that night, it was pretty much dinner time, and then the Fantastic Four kind of like got a little calm, little watches thing, and the sky was on fire for a brief second. They pretty much went downtown to like check everything out. And that's when we got the arrival of the Silver Surfer. In this universe, the Silver Surfer is a girl, and her name is Shaw Ball. The Silver Surfer pretty much told them, like, hey, like, the whole world is about to be eaten by the Devourer, Galactus, and there's, like, no stopping him. Silver Surfer head out, but Johnny, like, chased after her. and pretty much grabbed her surfboard for a brief second while he was in the air, and then Silver Surfer pretty much turned around and talked to him in her language. Back at the basketball building, like Reed and Sue and Ben been like tracking like her energy signature, trying to figure out where she was, and they found out about like the planets, like they've been destroyed, and it had something to do with her and the Galactus. We told them that they pretty much need to go back into space again. It's either they go to Galactus or Galactus comes here. Then Johnny brought up the fact that the Silver Surfer pretty much like talked to him in her language for some reason. Everyone asked Johnny for details, like what do you think that she was saying? But like Johnny was just like looking at her and like really thought like there was something between them the whole time. Really, man. Anyway, Reed built like new spacesuits and pretty much like told the world that they need to go back in space and they said we'll protect Earth. They pretty much like went to space. They found Galactus. Galactus told them that they, like he's been like around for like billions of years, and like he's tired of like being like Galactus, tired of eating planets, and pretty much told like Reed and Sue that their son has power cosmic. Reed was in denial of that. Galactus pretty much made a deal: give me the kid, or I eat your planet. And they said no. And pretty much got up out of there. Silver Surfer pretty much had to chase him down, like there was a couple close calls. Sue was in labor and she was like had to give birth in space. She ended up giving birth to her son. They named him Franklin. They made it back to Earth. Pretty much told like everyone that like Galactus is still coming. We haven't defeated him yet. Reed is going nuts because like he couldn't like find the answer to everything. Everyone started hating the Fantastic Four because they wouldn't give up Franklin. Then Sue had to like give like a little like message to the world about like how she's not gonna give up her kid. And she's not going to give a birth. Then Reed pretty much came up with an idea to teleport the Earth somewhere far away from Galactus. They managed to build a teleporter. They did try to use it, but the Silver Surfer ended up destroying it. Johnny ended up like speaking to Shao in her language, and then we got like a little backstory to her, how she became like Galactus' hero. They ended up getting help from Mole Man to like get the civilians out of the way because they're planning to like lure Galactus down here where Franklin is. So that way they can like teleport him somewhere else. Then we got like an epic final fight. Shao betrayed like Galactus and pretty much pushed him to the teleporter. Then like Sue ended up dead for a second, but Franklin managed to like bring her back to life, the baby. And the whole thing ends with like them being at the Ted Gilbert show again with the baby, but like they had to like go on another mission, and the movie was over. Finally, like a live-action adaptation of the Fantastic Four that does not even suck, man. Like, this gotta be the best adaptation of the Fantastic Four that has ever existed throughout history. And it makes sense, like, why they, like, go for, like, a 1960s aesthetic, because it kind of does fit, like, well, kind of, like, goes in with the whole origin story. Even the fact that, like, they kind of, like, were, like, created back during 1961. And only that, the Fantastic Four was the first Marvel superhero team. So honestly, it does make sense for the Fantastic Four to be set back during that time. Okay, some of the actors and the only actor that I can only like recognize off the top of my head was Pedro Pascal. I mean, I'm familiar with Pedro Pascal because like he showed up in Mandalorian and The Last of Us. And okay, Vanessa Kirby, Joseph Quinn, and like what was it, Ebon Moss Bachram? Okay, I can never pronounce the last name right. Okay, Bachram I remember because in case you guys don't remember like the Netflix Punisher series. He plays this character named Micro. He's kind of like the Punisher's like, was a guy in a chair. I mean, that guy I'm familiar with, but the other two I'm not familiar with at all though. Okay, the performance in this movie is amazing, man. I'm just saying, like, Pedro Pascal has really did a good job playing Reed Richards. I'm just saying, all of them, like, all the actors and actresses, they pretty much, like, embody each of the characters, like, very well though. Very well. And their relationship dynamic with each other, very well written. People have been complaining online when they first saw, like, Ben's, like, CGI, like, for the first time in the first trailer. Bro, people have been complaining, like, it looks ugly. Are you kidding me? This is gonna be, like, the best, like, depiction of the Thing in live action since forever, man. And only that, he looked exactly comic book accurate, though. And only that, there's so many Easter eggs and references I managed to catch on the first time. Like, during the whole, like, montage scene where we get to, like, you know, see the Fantastic Four being heroes and stuff. If you, like, pay attention a little bit, you probably see them like wearing like a black and blue suit. That was their original like black and blue suit from like the comic books. And speaking of the comic books, Marvel actually did like with Marvel Comics to basically like create like a little like tie-in comic with the movie to like, you know, like show them like their first adventure and stuff. Like how they like first defeated the Mole Man. I actually did like bought the comic book online and I actually did read it, and I gotta admit, man, like it was pretty good. Maybe I'll give my own 2 cents on that later. But going back to Mole Man, aka, like, what was it, Mr. Elder or something? He was the first villain that the Fantastic Four faced in their first issue back in 1961. And it made sense, like, why, like, they kind of, like, include that in the montage and in the comic books as well, because if you're gonna, like start off the Fantastic Four in the MCU, you gotta bring Mole Man into this. In my honest opinion, I'm really glad that they did not, they did use Doctor Doom at the end of the movie, in the post-credit scene, but at least he's not, like, the main antagonist, because if you watch, like, all the Fantastic Four live-action, like, movies, even the 90s one, okay, there was a 90s, Fantastic Four movie that was never released, but, like, you guys can watch it on YouTube if you guys want to. Pretty much, like, again, at least Doctor Doom is not, like, the main bad guy, because he's always been, like, the main bad guy for, like, most of, like, the Fantastic Four stories, or at least, like, that's the most, like, most used villain in the movies. So it's kind of a good break, and then thank God they finally adapted, they did Galactus correctly this time, because, like, the last time they did bring up Galactus was Rise of the Silver Surfer, back in, like, 2007 or 2008, I forgot which one was, but all I know is, like, that version of Galactus was nothing but a cloud, man. What the heck, man? Marvel just went cheap on us back then. But now, they finally deliver. And thank God that the actor, like, what was his name again? What was it, Ralph Eisen? Like, played Galactus? I'm not gonna lie, he did a good job playing Galactus, though. Okay, I just gotta know, whose idea was it to release the Fantastic Four First Steps? Like, what was it, almost 2 weeks after, like, the Superman movie came out? And now, like, there's a bunch of debate on, like, which one is better, Superman or the Fantastic Four. To be honest, guys, it's hard for me, really, because I really do like both of these movies. One of the things I liked about this movie is, like, when it comes to live-action Fantastic Four, it's often, like, a secondary plot line with, like, you know, Ben, like, feeling, like, so sad and depressed about him, like, being, like, the Thing, and wish he was, like, back to normal again. In the comics, like, this been happening many times where Ben has actually turned normal at some point. And given the fact that, like, throughout the whole movie, we get to, like, see a little bit of, like, how, like, Ben is a little depressed because of that, and how Reed feels, like, ultimately responsible for that. Like, in the other, like, live-action movies, that has always been, like, shown. Like, it's, like, I guess it's, like, okay, I don't know how to describe it, but pretty much, like, it's, like, I don't know, like, a second plot of the Fantastic Four movies in live action. The reason why they, like, named this universe 828, it's supposed to be a tribute to, like, Jack Kirby. And in case you guys don't know who Jack Kirby is, you probably are not that familiar with comic books, but for those that probably forgot who he is, bro, shame on y'all. Jack Kirby was, like, one of the most famous comic book artists to ever live. He's behind the reason, like, he was, like, one of the, like, the main artists, like, responsible for creating the entire, like, Marvel universe. I mean, okay, history lesson in case you guys didn't know. Like, what was it, in Captain America issue 1, Jack Kirby did the artwork for Captain America. He designed Captain America. And later on, he did, like, create the Fantastic Four along with Stan Lee. And not only that, not just the Fantastic Four and Captain America, he did Black Panther, the X-Men, Falcon, Sam Wilson, and many more during the 60s, man. I did a video about, like, Jack Kirby. It was supposed to be, like, a tribute to him and his impact on comic books. If you guys want to check out that video, there's a title card. Click right here, guys. It's right there. The reason why it's named 828, not only is it a tribute to, like, Jack Kirby, but it's also, like, they put, like, 828, August 28, 1917. That was the year he was born. And that's a good way to honor the legend, man. Like, once it comes to the MCU, Stan Lee is, like, the one that got, like, the most credit. But not that many people, like, pay, like, that much tribute to Jack Kirby in the MCU that much, ever. And I'm glad that they actually, like, put that in the movie, man. Because Jack Kirby deserves the credit, though. He really does. Another thing I also liked about, like, the movie as well, I mean, people have been, like, complaining about, like, how the Silver Surfer is a woman, even though there was a female surfer in the comic books. The fact that Silver Surfer is a woman kind of does, like, works really well with the story. And not only that the Silver Surfer was a woman, but Silver Surfer is also a mom as well. And it made sense, like, they need some sort of motivation for the female Silver Surfer to go against Galactus. Speaking of Jack Kirby and, like, Stan Lee during the 60s, like, if you guys remember, like, what was it, when Silver Surfer came in, and we get to see, like, two guys in, like, some sort of building, with like the Timely Comics logo, because that's what Marvel used to be called back in the day. And we get to see like two guys looking out the window. Obviously, they're supposed to be like, like Stan Lee and Jack Kirby working on the comic books in this universe. I mean, honestly, man, that was like another good tribute to Jack Kirby as well, and Stan Lee. You know how like sometimes like comic book artists or writers tend to like write themselves or like create a character for themselves in their own stories in a way? Well, Ben Grimm the Thing is pretty much Jack Kirby, because in case you guys don't know, Jack Kirby was Jewish, and he lived on like this street, I forgot the name of it, but pretty much like Ben's neighborhood, when like Ben went to like his old neighborhood and stuff, that was based on like his like whole street that Jack Kirby used to grow up in. Guys, we'll put the links in the description down below if you guys want to check out for the facts for yourself. Honestly, when Reed was freaking out the fact that like we needed to like factor in some mutations here and there, honestly my brain automatically think mutant, because like in the comics, Franklin is like the firstborn of Reed and Sue, and they also have a daughter named Valeria Richards. But going back to Franklin, Franklin in the comics is a mutant. He's an Omega level mutant with reality warping abilities. And in case you guys don't know what an Omega level mutant is, pretty much it's a category of mutants who basically have like godlike power. Like, he's ridiculously powerful though. Some people have like compared like the Fantastic Four to the Incredibles, and well, the truth is, like, once it comes to the Incredibles was inspired by, like, the Fantastic Four. I mean, like, it's really obvious. Like, let's be honest, Elastigirl, Mr. Fantastic, Mr. Incredible, The Thing, Violet, obviously, Invisible Woman, and if Dash had, like, fire powers, bro, it would be just straight up Fantastic Four, and honestly, Pixar would have probably got sued by Marvel, and we probably would never get the Fantastic Four. And only that, let's be honest, like, the fact that, like, Incredibles takes place during the 60s, okay, bro, okay, this just made me mad, honestly, though. How could the public so, like, ready to, like, turn on the Fantastic Four so fast and so quick? Like, seriously, hold on. You're expecting those two to give up their freaking kid to, like, some, like, planetary space-eating god? Are you kidding me? Would you guys risk your own kids? Heck no. And as someone who has nieces and nephews, I would never give my nieces and nephews up to possibly get eaten by some sort of giant space god. And all that, I'm just saying, like, the whole, like, moral dilemma between that whole thing, bro, it definitely, like, screams, like, was it Abraham sacrificing his son to God in, like, Genesis? That was very biblical, though. I really did like that, though. And I really did love the speech that Sue gave, honestly, though. That was, like, a really good speech. I wish that Sue, like, did this earlier, but it made sense, honestly, though. It made sense, like, why, like, wait until, there's, like, an army of, like, people outside demanding, like, they should sacrifice Franklin. That made sense. And, bro, they definitely, like, incorporate certain elements from, like, other Fantastic Four movies. Like, for example, like, the teleporter that Reed was working on. The 2015 movie that came out 10 years ago, it kind of does, like, have a similar plotline where Reed was trying to, like, teleport something. That was actually smart to actually use that. The actors really did, like, a good job, again, like, showing the fact that they're kind of, like, a real, legit family in this movie. And all that, in case you guys, like, remember, like, the whole montage where Reed was pretty much explaining to kids about, like, quantum physics and all that, like, science mumbo-jumbo, it was giving, like, Bill Nye the Science Guy kind of thing. I mean, well, they kind of did, like, promote the fact that in this universe, like, Mr. Fantastic kind of was like Bill Nye Science Guy. I remember the promo for that years ago, or like, I don't know how long it's been, but the point is, man, it definitely gives off Bill Nye Science Guy. And there was some dude on TikTok that basically, like, used, like, the Bill Nye Science Guy theme song to basically, like, incorporate Mr. Fantastic in that. I'll have a link to the video, like, down below, though, so that way you guys can check it out. It's pretty cool. Alright, y'all, your boy gotta go. Like, share, subscribe, follow me on Instagram, check me out, DNR. The links to everything's down below. And guys, if you want to get my videos early, but like before like they ever hit YouTube, head over to my Patreon page. The link is in the description down below. M3Boy, out.